Hello, this is Julia C. And today's date is December the 11th, 2019. It is Friday, and the current time in Atlanta, Georgia is 6 a.m. And how are you? And I hope you all are doing perfectly well this morning and everything is running smooth. Uh, so this morning I'm gonna speak. This session will be in regards to immigration and what it's like to be an immigrant living in America. That is, if you are documented and or documented. And also I will read and I will examine and then I will analyze this particular passage, and I will go into details of what I perceive from reading this particular profile, and so forth and so on. So I am here at my computer, and of course, I didn't take notes. I just jumped right in again, and we will go from here. And I'm reading from the LOC. That is the website here. And I will read The Rise of Industrial America and Immigration to the United States. That is documented and or documented. All right, here we go. It says in the late 1800s, people in many parts of the world decided to leave their homes and immigrate to the United States, fleeing crop All right, I got a message. Okay, let's go back here. In the late 1800s, people in many parts of the world decided to leave their homes and immigrate to the United States, fleeing crop, fair land, and job shortages, rising taxes, and famine. Many came to the U.S. because of it was perceived as the land of economic opportunity. Others came seeking personal freedom of relief from political and religious persecution. With hope for a brighter future, nearly 12 million immigrants arrived in the United States between 1870 and 1900. During the 1870s and the 1880s, the vast majority of these people were from Germany, Ireland, and England. The principal sources of immigration before the Civil War that would change drastically in the next 3 decades. Immigrants entered the United States through several ports. Those from Europe generally came through East Coast facilities, while those from Asia generally entered through West Coast centers. Most than 70% of all immigrants Golden Door throughout the late 1800s. Most immigrants arriving in New York entered at the Castle Garden Depot near the tip of Manhattan. In 1892, the federal government opened a new immigration processing center in Ellis Island in New York Harbor. Although immigrants often settled near ports of entry, a large number did find their way inland. Many states, especially those with sparse population, actively sought to attract immigrants by offering jobs or land for farming. Many immigrants want to move to communities established by previous settlers from the homeland. Once settled, immigrants looked for work. There were never enough jobs, and employers often took advantage of the immigrants. Men were generally paid less than other workers and women less than men. Social tension were also part of the immigrant experience. often stereotypes and discriminated against. Many immigrants suffered verbal and physical abuse because they were different, while large-scale immigrants created many social tensions. It also produced a new validity in the cities and states in which the immigrants settled. The newcomers helped transform America's society and culture, demonstrating that diversity as well as unity is a source of national strength. All right. So, as we know, most people left their hometown, their lands behind, as they say, um, to come to America to enhance their economics or their uh, for whatever other reasons, numerous of reasons, people wanted to port to the United States of America to better themselves or what have you, to achieve their goals. Now, as we know, let me read something here before I say something. All right. As we all know, that the Caucasian descended people, they mostly came first, from what I've gathered here. They moved here first, and then so forth and so on. The Africans came about, and then the Asians and so on and so on. Uh, these people evidently weren't doing too good in their estates and their proper land, so they chose to port come to America to enhance or improve or better themselves in their skilled area or whatever you specialize in. All right. So what I've noticed is the during the immigration, it was a big boom for immigration back then. It was a boom, and they had a high looked like they had a high request for Caucasian descended people to come to America for whatever reason. Um, it was easier for them to establish a permanent residence back then um, in the U.S. And then come the Africans and the Asians, or however, you know. And this country, as we know, is a very, very competitive country, meaning kind of racist, not in a negative way, but it's competitive here. Everybody is, trying to get it, trying to achieve something here, get things done, or have a statement that you would like to make, or a mission to accomplish, you know. So people that come to America, they have something in mind. It's something they want to do because they wanted to get here bad enough, and they are up to something. Not saying that in a negative way, but it looked like they were trying to say, hey, I'm, you know, I got something I need to do, and this is where, this is where the system is booming as far as, whatever is, as far as finances and, establishments for housing, and, you get to, drive nice cars here. The laws are laid back in America, from what I've recollected, and it's laid back here, and it's easier to get things done. You can make stuff happen here in America. you can be successful at any given point in America as well. If you strive hard enough, um, you could you could achieve your goals here, whatever that may be for you. Um, so what I've noticed is that I want to read something here that stands out to me, and I'm going to click on this link. It says the Chinese versus the Negroes as American citizens. Let me read this right here for you. All right, let me see what it says. It says in 1899, Mr. Samuel Scatron, an African American scholar from Brooklyn, New York, published an article in the Brooklyn Eagle newspaper in which he reminded readers that African Americans had gained full and legal citizenship status in the United States. Scatron's article was a response to a proposal made by Senator Mick Butler recommending that all African Americans be colonized in South America. In the article, Mr. Scatron refers to comparisons made between Chinese immigrants and African American citizens by the editor of the Boston Herald newspaper. The editor has suggested that the Chinese immigrants on the West Coast were better suited to American citizenship than were African Americans. What is Scatron's position on extending citizenship to the Chinese immigrants? What evidence do he provide to make the case that African Americans had become good citizens? Do you think that the comparison between Chinese immigrants and African American citizens was fair? Why or why not? So did you hear that? Scatron says that Chinese were more suitable for citizenship or establishment, business establishment, over African Americans on the West Coast. So we do know, I've been out to the West Coast. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. I was born here supposedly, in Atlanta, and I've traveled. I traveled to Minnesota. I traveled to New York. I've traveled to Denver, Colorado. I traveled to Seattle, Washington. Washington. And what stood out to me when I went to the West Coast, I noticed a lot of Asians there on the West Coast, doing business. They're doing fairly financially well on the West Coast, and then I noticed the African American was more like in the civilian world there, and we were spending most of the money with them. I didn't see it. I didn't see, and I was in Colorado and also Seattle. I noticed there weren't any African American business. I didn't come across one. Maybe there are some there, but as far as some in the city, I didn't notice any amount of African Americans out there that were doing, doing business there for whatever reason. And what I noticed about what I'm starting to notice about immigration and what immigration has become to me. This is from what I perceive. I think that immigration has gotten all that they wanted here, and they established a population of people here. They've established what they need, and they've gotten all they really actually need. So right now, it looks like they really don't need any more newcomers here because we are congested already. In reality, that's what it looks like to me. So immigration has turned, from what I've read in another article, they have sterned the laws on deporting people here in America. They have kind of like backed down on, and what it looked like to me, they did as well as bringing people here to America. They kind of like analyzed the people that they were bringing. They was, looked like they was picking over who they wanted to be in America, um, and who they wanted to do business. And then, then again, some people are just not interested in America. They know other places that are more suitable for them, financially and for establishment, in other, countries or what have you. Some people just don't want to come to America. They say, hey, it's something better than this to them. Some people say, hey, this is where it's at. USA is the place to be. Or some people say, hey, I'm perfectly fine where I am, over the sea or wherever, you know. And so it's, and there's a lot of, I don't know how to put this in a better slur, but there's a lot. I noticed there have been, looks like there have been a lot of insecurities, as far as deporting people to America. It looks like they are studying their background, and before they lottery them or let them come to America, they only want particular individuals here in America. And let me get my notes out because I was discussing this here on yesterday, and I didn't know I was going to do this session in regards to immigration. And um, someone also stated that immigration has become insecure, and I said the same thing too. And they don't want certain people here in this country, um, you know, due to this. Someone said that this country has become has low self-esteem. The USA has low self-esteem. There's a lot of envy here. There's a lot of jealousy um, in America. So the people that's here, that's been here for some time, 20 years or more, has gotten comfortable here, especially if you're doing business here, and that's your job, has become your main source of income. um, it looks like America government wants a change, and these people are so used to working and making money, and they don't want to move. They're in their comfort zone, and they don't want to leave their comfort zone. But the government say, hey, you've been cheating us out of you've been cheating us tax wise or what have you, and we don't want you any longer. So we want to try something different, try a better breed or whatever. We want to bring majority. Just say for example, we don't want China or Korea anymore. We want to put on the front street. We don't want them any longer. We want to try, you know, um, we want to try Saudi Arabia. Let's see if we can get more of those people here in this country, and see if we put them on the front row, because maybe things will be better. I'm just using them as an example. That's what it looks like to me. But the people are so comfortable here. This is their main source of income. Um, and and I'm not saying that we don't have, Middle Easterns and Easterners here in America, but They want to bring more of their business here and try to see if that would improve um that would improve uh in some areas, uh improve, if things will get better as far as business, because the government feels that those particular individuals, we've been doing business with them forever, it looks like, and things isn't getting better, so we want to try something different. So, but these people, just for example, China and Korea and people like that, we see them the most here in America, especially in Atlanta, Georgia. There's a lot of uh, Japanese as well, Koreans, Chinese here doing business here. Especially, we have a lot of, in Atlanta, a lot of beauty supply here, cosmetics and things like that with their names on them, China and Korea. And they say, hey, this is, uh, we're not feeling this, we want something better or what have you. So they are trying to, it looks like the government is trying to work hard, especially in New York, to bring more Middle Easterns and Easterners here to the USA, to make business boom and put them on the front street, and see if this country would improve if we give them a, uh, a chance to shine first over the others that's been here for quite some time. I'll see what happens. America's always looking for a change. They don't. Seems like America don't like to keep you for too long. They like to switch it up. They don't want things to get old and stale. So my point I'm trying to make is, you here in this country, you have to, doing business, you have to keep upgrading yourself to keep your your establishment and your reputation up to par here in America. So yes. So, and then I noticed here in Georgia, in Atlanta, Georgia, I noticed there are a lot of liquor stores and a lot of gas stations. They uh, they know that they are the they are booming in the business, and so they have put up, and they're so scared because it stands out that the African American Negroes are not doing too well, and it looks like we are being pimped. Um, and and they are the people that are running the business are gigoloing us out of our money. So the people have caught on, and they put up bulletproof windows and things like that. And someone made a statement, say, hey, these people think they are diamond watches behind the glass and things like that. I don't want to start a fire, but that's what they're saying in my notes. One guy say they think they're diamond watches in a glass or something. But in this country, I noticed, and I'm not promoting crime, but in this country, you really, if you want to make money here, you have to really hustle in this country. You have to hustle, and it's a and if you like money, you like money a lot, American money especially. If you like money here, in this country, you have to really work hard at it. You have to, and some people think that you have to get down and dirty to get the real money. You have to make sacrifices here in this country. Some people say, hey, Working is not the only thing you have to do here to live it up. A nice big house. They claim that people are doing other things, besides working to live in such of a place, or to have that type of establishment as far as housing and business go. They say they're doing all kind of other things to to live good here in this country. So I'm not promoting crime. Well, I'm in the dirty South. That's what they say. It's the dirty South. Yeah. So yeah, and Georgia here, living here in Georgia, is a good social studies state. It's a secret gem for social studies here. It's a Confederate state, of course, and it's also good in the area of social studies, politics here in this in Georgia state. Um, so I have a few minutes and then I must go. I have things I have to do. Unfortunately, I wish I can carry on for a long time. Um, um, Chinese versus the Negroes. So yeah, the Chinese and the Koreans, they stand out here. They're booming in business here, so they are noticeable. That's why I mentioned them a lot here. Also, the Middle Easterns and the Easterners are here as well in the southern states. Of course, in New York as well, and also California. Um, but mostly those two individuals, they stand out the most in this country as far as making business boom. Of course, we know the Caucasian descended people of also the top main government over the United States of America, from what I've gathered here, as well as the native Indians as well. Um, so they do a lot of grouping, the natives and the Caucasian. They do a lot of grouping and meetings for to sign bills and things like that to get things done, as well as Israel as well. They they play a big major role in the U.S. as well. So um, what else I want to put out there? I just want to highlight some things and bring some things to your attention. Um, in case you were wondering, you thought that you were the only person thinking these things here in the back of your mind. If you see what I see here in America, and from what I've read, the little that I read and I perceived from reading, um, and the rise of the industrial America, it is presented between the 1876 through the 1900s, and the immigration to the United States. Spoke on behalf of the year of 1851 through the 1900 as well. Um, and so what they're saying is this guy here is saying that they preferred the Chinese at a particular time over the African American Negroes. They prefer the Chinese over African Americans to be on the front street. So I don't know if that's favoritism or what. But I must go now, and you can read on. I came to you from the LOC Chinese. I don't know the rise of the industrial America between 1876 and the 1900s. If you have anything you would like to leave me with, you can drop the message at the box on YouTube at the comment area. If you have anything to say in regards to this topic. So I must go now. I am Julia C. And remember, I am with you in the tribulation. Bye for now.